Alright, so we've dealt with our thickness of our boards and our width of our boards. So all our boards are the same thickness, and all of our boards are also the same width. So last we have to do, since we're dealing with solid lumber, is the length of the board. Now commonly what we would do is we would take off a saw kerf, one saw kerf off the best end, and then cut it to length. But since our plan calls for mitered ends, basically 45s, what we're going to do is we're going to skip that step and go right to the 45s because it's just it's an additional step and it just kind of wastes time. So we don't need to square it, cutting it up to final length and then come back and then cut it to the final length with the miters on it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut it right to the final width, or final length, excuse me, with the miters on it. So what we need to do before we can deal about any of the length at all, what we're going to do is select what face we want facing out. So when we look at our box, we can say that this face is going to be the outside, this face is going to be the inside of our legs. Again, going back to that sub-assembly. So we're trying to find out what face we want facing out and not on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and look at each piece. I will start with this one. You know, this doesn't really matter. It I guess depends on how many machine marks you have. Again, since that planer is older, it may have dipped down a little bit. So there's a little bit of where the machine dipped down. So that's just going to spend more time sanding. So I'm just going to make this my outside. Okay, so I'm going to have this be my outside. And I'm just going to kind of start laying this out. You know, this one's pretty clean. Depends on what you really want for grain. So I mean, it's kind of a horse piece, so I'm just going to select this as my outside. Okay, so this is going to be one of my outside legs. And you have this piece here. Again, it's about the same. You know, do you want to try and cut that knot out, or do you want to try and keep it? You know, maybe I'll try and cut it out. So I'll make this my outside, and I'll place it. So all I'm trying to do here is just trying to get the beginning of my outline faced out. Now on this one, you may have this option here. You know, one of the good things about working with wood as opposed to metal is that you have that grain figure. You know, so to some people, this knot here may be attractive. To other people, it may not be. So it's kind of, again, it's your project. So whatever you want it to be, you know, maybe I'll try and keep that. It kind of gives it a little character. So I'm going to make that my outside, and I'm going to place it here. Now, when we're dealing with our miters, it kind of trips kids up a little bit because we want our miters to be cut at an angle so that when they're assembled together, it forms a 45. Okay? So if we look at our plans, you can kind of tell, and from our top view, from the top view of our project, we have our outside, or our face that's facing out is located up here. And our face that's located, or facing inside, is located down here. And the overall shape is going to be a trapezoid. Okay? So we want to make a trapezoid with the long face being the outside. Short face is going to be the inside, long face is going to be the outside. So again, a trapezoid. So all I'm going to do is I've laid it out, I've selected these as my outside faces, and I'm just going to take a pencil mark and make sure that I have a trapezoid, so that it helps me remember which way the blade needs to go when cutting my miter. Okay, so you just have to go right there, just make some trapezoids. I can take this piece, making sure that this is my outside face. I bring this, again keeping my outside face towards me, and I just make a line just as a reference mark so that I have my I know which way my blades are supposed to go. So I have this here, that's my outside face. Now again, this was my back leg and the outside face was this surface here. So I'm actually going to flip this here, and I'm going to go ahead and mark again, making sure that I have a trapezoid. So outside face is longer, inside face is shorter.